Welcome to Keys to Fun, and thanks for joining us today. This week we're going to start to talk a little bit about playing introductions. As great as it is to use introductions that are built into the equipment that you have, the fact of the matter is some people have equipment that don't have them. Even if you do have them, sometimes the ones that you have, to you, don't seem to act as you'd like them to. Maybe they don't sound the way that you'd like them to sound. Maybe they're a bit shorter than you'd like them to be. Maybe they're a bit longer than you'd like them to be. Today's demonstration is going to use two different songs, one new one that we used a few weeks ago. We're going to show you how you can utilize parts of these songs to create your own introductions. The hope is you can create more variety and have some more fun. Let's take a look at The House of the Rising Sun and Take Me Out to the Ball Game. One of the great features that digital equipment affords you the opportunity of using are introductions and endings. Introductions and endings are a great way to put at the beginning of the song or the end of the song some music that's played by the instrument that you know is going to be accurate. I often joke that as long as you use a nice introduction and a nice ending, the middle can be an absolute disaster and nobody will remember. One of the nice things that has happened recently through technology is that the styles that we use have introductions that were tailored to sound like specific songs. And I'll give you a couple right now. Today I'm playing on the Lowrey Journey, and the Journey has a lot of rhythm styles over here to the left, some of which have names that denote specific maybe types of music, musicians, or even songs that would work good with that particular style. I'm looking at one on the screen here. I don't know that you can see the screen or not, but it says Barry Can't Smile, which would be Can't Smile Without You by Barry Manilow. And if I scroll down to that option and I hit introduction and play my first chord, I will surely hear an introduction which will match that song very well. Now, if the rhythm's already playing and I were to hit that same button, it also does give me an ending, so it will end the song as well. So again, if you use that introduction and that ending, the middle of the song, you can make a mistake here or there, and overall the song's still going to sound pretty good. Now, as you make your choices through this blue button section here, again, you will see different names of styles. You can also look in your owner's manual to help you as well, where you may see a name. This one's called Piano Color. Now, knowing this instrument pretty well, I know that that is a perfect rhythm style for the song Color My World by Chicago. Again, introduction allows me to play a chord. As you can see, there are some introductions a little bit longer than others. You'll know the introduction is done when this button does turn off. Now, I turned it off because it was pretty lengthy there, but eventually it would have turned itself off and you would know the introduction is finished. Well, this leads us to question then, well, how do musicians or composers create introductions? And one thing that happens in some songs is that the composer may take a certain portion of the song and use that to create an introduction. One great example of that is the introduction that you hear to a song that we used as an example a few weeks ago, the song The House of the Rising Sun by the Animals. If I cue up that rhythm style here and I play the introduction, it's going to be obviously a very famous introduction. It's one I'm sure that you know before I even play the first two notes. It sounds like this. that's all well and good if you have that beat. But let's say you're not playing on an instrument like the Journey or an instrument that has that particular introduction. Well, one thing that the composers of that song did is they took the chord progression that finished that song. There were about, I want to say 8 or 9 chords here. And they played those chords in succession. It was an A minor, a C, a D, an F, an A minor, an E, an A minor, and an E. Those are the last 8 chords in the song. And the sheet music would denote this for you if you were looking at it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you hear the introduction again, and then I'm going to play the chords I just listed. A minor, C, D, F, A minor, E, using the background without the intro. And I think you may find it hard to tell the difference between what they are giving you and what I was able to. Again, here's them. Instead of using the introduction, I'm going to play those 8 chords that I listed. I'm going to play them once a measure. And again, listen to this as compared to what you just heard. They're almost indistinguishable. So that's a great way of, if you don't have introductions at all, not every instrument has introductions. If I was just playing on a piano and I wanted a nice introduction to that song, I could just take, in this case, it is the last 8 chords, and I could play them in succession before I started, and it would give me an introduction just about as accurate as what the instrument gave me. Now let's take a look at another scenario. Let's say that you do have an instrument with introductions, but none of the introductions seem to match the song that you're looking to play very well. I'm thinking, for example, of a song like Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Now, Take Me Out to the Ball Game is a waltz. And on this particular instrument here, once I hit waltz, I actually have 12 different waltz options that I can get to. Now again, this is on the Journey. You may have more, you may have less. But there are 12 different options that I have here where I can use 12 different introductions. Technically, I guess you could say 24 if I were to use a minor chord. But in all of the intros that I have, nothing to me sounded appropriate to that particular song. Okay, you can go to the full band, the pianist, the guitarist, some options in the middle. I'm just going to go right to the first full band option here. It's called Easy Waltz. I'm going to put an organ sound on for us here. And this is the introduction that the Easy Waltz gives me. Now, could you use that introduction? Well, of course. Would it sound great with Take Me Out to the Ball Game? It would sound fine with that song. But is there a way that I could potentially make an introduction that was a little bit more appropriate? And the answer is, of course. What I could do is I could take the end of the song. Now, not only would I be playing the chords, as I did in the House of the Rising Sun, I can even incorporate the notes themselves. What I'm thinking of is there's a pivot point in that song towards the end where they say, well, it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out, or it could be so. So it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to remove it temporarily and put it back at the beginning of the song. Okay, now if you're familiar with this song, you have your first couple notes. I'll take the end here again, I guess, of your first couple notes. Now that's the end of that song. I can very easily use that as an introduction. Again, I could use theirs. But wouldn't it be great to have an introduction that better matched that particular song? Again, I don't have one. In all of the waltz styles on this particular machine, I don't have one that sounds as appropriate as if I were to just play the end of the song. So I'm starting there again, about the latter half of the song there. I'm going to play that first as an introduction. And the nice thing is it can actually act as an ending as well, because it is the last part of the song that you end up playing anyhow at the end. Okay, you can choose a sound which sounds good to you. This was a little mellow, so there's some strings, piano and strings, more strings, a mandolin sound. There's a nice horn section. Why don't we use that? So again, rather than using introduction, so that's an example of how you can either take the notes and the chords in a song and use them for an introduction, or just the chords as we did with the House of the Rising Sun. This hopefully will allow you to vary the ways that you can start songs out, whether you have introductions and endings, which you might find of all of the ones that you have, you really couldn't find one that matched, or maybe you're playing on an instrument that does not have that option. Well, take a part of the song, remove it, play it at the beginning, and oftentimes you can create an introduction which will sound perfect. Thanks for joining us for another edition of our micro lesson series. We aim to shoot one of these weekly for you so that you can have something else that you can work on for the next 7 days. We will eventually run out of subject material, so feel free to reach out to us and let us know about things or topics that you'd like us to cover, and we'll try to make sure that we can put them into a future episode. Keys to Fun is located at 1665 Hartford Avenue in Johnston, Rhode Island. We're an authorized Lowry organ and Yamaha Clavinova dealer. We have both new and used equipment, and we also give music lessons. Our goal is to teach you to have some fun. We hope you had some fun today. We hope you enjoyed yourselves, and we look forward to seeing you next week. If you have any questions, you can email us. Our email address is info@keystofunmusic.com. You can obviously visit our website, which is www.keystofunmusic.com, or feel free to stop by our Facebook page. Just type in the search bar, Keys to Fun Music and Lesson Centers. Thank you very much. We'll see you again very soon.